Actually, Talis told you that when I was a kid, did any of you guys play a musical instrument when you were a kid? Like piano? Well, when I was a kid, this is a funny story before I start. My father, he really did come to every performance I did, and he generously slept through all of them. I didn't mind, he was there, it was nice. One time when I was in high school, my teacher invited me to perform with him in a very, it was a really good opportunity. It was a great performance. And it was very small, it was a small group, maybe 8 musicians, and not much bigger than this room. And of course my father came and sat in the back, and I sat next to my father, and, I sat next to my teacher, and we were playing through the music, and I just watching my father go like this. And then my teacher, during a kind of solo, he screwed up. And he put down his instrument and he said, "Oh, you know the rest." And then my father like this. He became wide awake, even though he was way in the back, he heard that. So anyway, I want to ask you guys if you ever had this experience where you were like inspired by something and then you decided you were going to go do it. I'm going to tell you about an experience I had where that happened to me. And I want to show you the inspiration I had. Well, it's this book, and somebody gave me this book, and I'm going to show you what's in the front cover. And I was so inspired by this, I really wanted to do it. Because according to this book, you can achieve that goal in 12 weeks. Well, you can see these pictures. I don't know if you can see it from there. That's kind of like, yeah, before and after picture of some very fat people who got very slim. Yeah, you see?
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, you see? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
very inspiring.
Yeah, it's very inspiring, right? And somebody gave me this book and told me, this program really works. So I read the book cover to cover. And I already had the gym membership, so it was no problem. And I decided I was going to do it. And I don't know what happened. I made plans like this before. Everybody does this, right? You plan to do it, and then you're like, oh, you give up. But I wasn't going to give up this time. I was going to do it. So I did it. I finished it. I finished the 12 weeks. And I'm not telling you that so that I can prove it. I've got the record right here. And not only, I went to the gym every day, 6 days a week for 12 weeks. And I wrote it down. And not only that, I recorded every single workout that I did. I followed the directions. I followed the program. And the last day was August 28th. And at that time, I went on a boat trip with my ex-girlfriend. When I finish the story, you'll understand why she is my ex. And after finishing this, I felt quite confident. I lost some weight. I thought I looked better, and it felt good. So we went on this boat trip, and then, there's swimming on a boat trip. So I took off my clothes, some of them, and I jumped in the water. I was swimming around, and then that girl said something to me that I'll never forget. She said, "I don't see any difference." So immediately I put my clothes right back on. I stopped swimming around. I completely lost confidence. And I also really understood the meaning of the F word. And I'm not talking about the one you are thinking about, or you guys are so dirty. The F word I was thinking was that I failed. I'm sorry. I failed, and I couldn't figure it out. I had done the program. I did everything the book said. And I couldn't understand, how is it possible that I failed? And after that, I didn't really give up. In my whole life, I kind of went to the gym regularly. I'm no athlete. I went to the gym. I kept going, but it was not like during those 12 weeks. I really lost the energy. I lost the feeling. I took that to heart because I thought, well, I've done all that work, and if she can't see a difference, then it's not worth it. Because believe it or not, those 12 weeks, that took a lot of energy. Although you have Sunday, you don't have to work out, you have to cook 6 days worth of meals to prepare for those healthy meals. You really have to prepare for that stuff. So I kind of gave up. But you may be wondering, why would I want to do something like this? Do I really want to be very muscular, like a Arnold or something like that? Well, that's not really it. Because when I was growing up, the truth is that my father was an athlete. He was a runner. And he ran marathons. And he ran them fast. So there were weeks when my father, preparing for a marathon, would run 100 miles in a week. I couldn't imagine that. And when I got older, my sister followed in his footsteps. And she also was a runner. And she was also very fast. But it was her nature. You know, when we were growing up, my sister used to run to everything. She used to run and trip over and run and trip over, and she was very fast. So I was always kind of interested, how did they do that? Because I was the complete opposite of them. I was like the French people. I love to sleep. I love to relax. It's like an art form, you know, relaxing is so comfortable. But in the back of my mind, when I finish this plan, I keep thinking, how did they do it? And did I do something wrong? Well, that's obviously not the end of the story. And I'm here to tell you guys that YouTube saved my life. Because time passed. Maybe I didn't tell you, this is 2005 when I did this. And so obviously a lot of time passed. But I kept going and I kept thinking about it on and off. I sort of put it away in my mind. But then one day I came across this video on YouTube, and it's this guy, and he really did look like one of these guys in this picture. And he has a website, and he has a bunch of videos, and he also has these programs. But I read something very interesting in the fine print of his website. And he said, you cannot expect results like that in 12 weeks. You have to think in years, and you have to plan in years. And I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense. It sounds discouraging, right? You think years to get some results. It just seems like it might be discouraging, but I don't know why that kind of encouraged me. But actually what it did is it made me feel better about the 12 weeks. It made me feel like, well, maybe I hadn't failed after all. But then I was browsing around some other YouTube videos, and then I came across another one that also saved my life. And it was another guy that looked like one of the guys in this book. And actually he was really big, really strong. I really liked that guy. And he was demonstrating some exercise to make your arms big or whatever. And then he kind of asked and answered a question for the viewers. He said, you may be asking yourself, how long should I do this exercise for? Or how much weight should I use? And what he said was, forget about it. If you have to ask how much you have to do, you shouldn't be doing this. He said, you should go until you fail. Until you absolutely cannot push your body to do one single more time. And the reason is because at that time in the exercise, when you are pushing and struggling and you just have to summon all your mental strength to get that last inch, that is where the growth of the muscle happens. Because it becomes broken at that point. And over time, before the next workout, it breaks. It re-heals and becomes stronger. And so next time, you'll be able to push again. And to be honest, I may have heard that before, but it didn't really register until this guy came out and said, You must fail. And you must spend as much time as you can in the intensity of that failure in order to have the muscle growth that you want, in order to get the results that you wanted. And at that moment, I made a decision. I'm going to try again. I'm going to try this 12 weeks again. But this time, I'm going to use that as a starting point, and I'm going to use the 1 year, 2 years perspective. I can tell you I've done it. I started on October 14th, 2010. And I said I'm going to go to the gym 6 times a week. I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. every day. And I'm going to, not only am I going to get up at 6, I'm going to walk to the gym and I'm going to go 6 days a week. I did it for 12 weeks. And after that, although I adjusted the time and the amount, I kept going. And it's been a year and 3 months already. And I can tell you that that information is not in this book. It's not in, well, there may be some videos that tell you I had to search a lot of stuff to find out that you have to push yourself way more than anyone will ever tell you. When you want to do something, if you want to be really successful at it, you have to find out what the limit is and push it as hard as you can. I'm not talking about getting injured. I don't mean that. I don't mean doing something crazy and stupid. I mean, you have to find, I don't know what the thing is for you. I can't really tell you that. I never really thought that being healthy and being into fitness was kind of my passion. And maybe it's not exactly a passion, but I really love the results. And I can tell you the one thing I'm passionate about is, last October I went home and I saw my sister. And my sister always knows I like to sleep. In the meantime, she's out there running 50 miles and riding a bike 200 miles. And this time, well, I had an advantage. She just had a baby, so she's a little bit fat. But this time my sister saw me. I never saw her look at me like that. She looked at me in a different way, like, wow, you did something. But I'm not telling you that because I'm proud of myself. I'm telling you that because I learned that when I was able to push my limits, I was able to do way more than I ever thought I could. I was not a good runner, but part of this is doing some running. And I learned how to run. And I'm not really fast by any stretch, but now I can do it for much longer than I could before. So, you guys took this class to learn how to become better speakers, or for whatever reason you took this class. I don't know what your purpose is or what you do in your lives. I have some idea now. But whatever it is, if you want to excel, if you want to rise up little by little, it's got to come from in here. It's got to come at the time when you feel the most discouraged, when you feel really, really difficult and you don't want to continue. That's where the progress is going to come. It's going to, for me, it comes on Sunday night when all I want to do is go to sleep. But I have to fold my laundry, put my clothes, put the food in the bag. That's where it happens, in those small, difficult, annoying things. That's where the progress is. That's where you make that break that takes you to the higher level. So all I want to encourage you to do is don't listen to people who tell you take it easy, don't push yourself too hard. I totally abandoned that advice for my own self. I just want to encourage you, whatever you're doing, whatever you're into, push yourself to failure as much as possible, and you will find it there. And that's it from me.
Very good. Very good.